corner, and quite a number of us are supposed to be very excited about this, Christmas, beautiful time of the year. In fact, I consider it the most wonderful time of the year because you have to look forward to spending time with family and with friends and with all of the people you love. Now, of course, this Christmas is going to be a little bit bittersweet for someone like me. And the reason for that, I will, share it out with you. I will put it out there and to pursue his education. And so, but he won't be there. I'm sure we'll do a lot of video calling and all of that. So I'm very happy. I'm very proud that he's striking out on his own. He's becoming a man in his own right. So that's great. But of course, very sad that he won't be there. But it's all about Christmas and plans, what the plans are. What are your plans for Christmas? What are you doing? Well, even as we make preparations and plans for the Christmas, we're doing so under a very frustrating circumstance. The petrol scarcity. Now, we don't know whether it's going to end before Christmas. It doesn't look like it. Certainly, it doesn't, because even as I was making my way to work this morning, in the early hours of the day, there are two petrol stations that are very close to my house. This is where I usually get petrol. And already there were queues. There was no sign that these stations were going to open up very soon, and already the queues had mounted. So I started thinking about people who are going to be traveling far and wide and the amount of money that's going to be spent. First of all, you have the people who have cars, who have their own cars. And then, it's the cost of petrol. That they're going to have to be paying more to fill up their tanks. Maybe in the past, what they needed was about 7,000 or 8,000. And no kidding, 12 months ago, that was all I needed to fill up my tank if I needed to travel. Roughly about 8,000 naira. By the time it even gets to 6,000 naira, because I have a principle, I never allow my petrol to go below a quarter tank because, the car I drive, it's an injector system. So you don't want, any residue or, sand to get into the valves for the car to perform optimally. So I try when it's quarter tank, I just top it up. So usually if I'm going to travel, it's going to take me just about that much. But, what do we do? How do you cope with all of this? So I just want to, listen to Nigerians as to what their Christmas plans are, how they're coping with this scarcity, how they, if you're in a petrol queue right now, what is the experience for you? How long have you been in that queue? It didn't take long. Federal government has talked about this. There's been an official statement from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. That's the NNPC. It says that the subsidy on PMS is becoming unbearable for the firm. And the government actually talked about it. It said that it declared on Wednesday that there was no plan to increase the pump price of petrol, especially during the Christmas season. And there are those who say it's Christmas season and this is why this is happening. But I can also imagine those who are traveling through buses. There are lots of us who may be taking the night bus, others who may be taking taxis. And because there's going to be a rush, starting from next week, there's going to be a rush. And you will have commercial operators, those who operate these vehicles or these transport services. And they're going to now start saying they're going to get on this attitude. The attitude. Whenever there's a rush in Nigeria, then the people who operate these systems become arrogant. And then, they're dismissive. Even when you try to ask questions to understand what's going on, it's a take it or leave it. So we're going to increase the price. This is it. So you take this or you go away. And so you have lots of Nigerians who will have no choice. They're either going to have to find a way to cough up this money. And we have families. So sometimes we're going to be traveling with children and all of that. So I really do feel it for Nigerians. And you have to wonder, okay, when is this all going to end? And so I was wondering, which is better? Are we better off just having a higher price and paying a higher price and having the product available in the market? It's a temptation for me. But this is just my life. I don't know what your life is like. For me, it's like, okay, I have very little time to buy petrol. And most times, because I'm such a busy person, It's either maybe in the early hours of the day or whatever time I can steal. So I prefer to just drive into a petrol station and then, buy the product. But I realize that there are millions and millions of Nigerians who cannot afford that. And so for them, just increasing the price for availability is not an option. And also there's the trickle-down effect. So, I do want to ask this and have a conversation with our listeners here in Abuja. Which is better? Should we have an increased price and just have the product available at the petrol stations? Or, should we maintain the price, what it is, the cap that the federal government has placed on it, and there should be a way to have this product available at this price, in spite of the fact that IPMAN, as well as the others, are saying, well, they don't want to pay it at that price. So, call me. I would like to hear your experiences. Are you traveling for Christmas? What are some of the challenges that you are facing, even as you make your preparations? You can very quickly dial 0903 22 29 797. Or you could also call 0818 22 22 205. You could reach me on 0808 22 22 037. And share with me some of your experiences of what you feel that needs to be done in order for us not to go through this Christmas with the problem of petrol. Because even when you travel, that's another thing. When you travel, maybe you go to your village or you go to your home city, and it's interesting that I've discovered that a lot of people do not live right here in Abuja. They actually have their home bases elsewhere. All right, well, we have this call. Let's listen to this caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Stanley.
All right, who are you? Could you tell us your name, where you're calling from?
Okay, my name is Patrick.
Oh, Patrick, calling back. Okay. Great. Patrick, so what's the experience been like for you, and what do you think needs to happen?
What needs to happen has not happened yet. So, and there is no time to make it happen. Mr. Stanley, I want to ask a question. Must we suffer every year when it comes to December in this country?
Good
Remember,
question.
that was happening last year, this same thing. Last week, this same thing. So what's going on? Is it that we cannot enjoy Christmas without all this kind of wet scarcity of it? A price hike by some unsafe forces. So the what needs to happen has not happened, and what's supposed to happen is that Mr. President could have even stopped paying the subsidy of 18. The very first day he came into power, and he saw that, yes, even though he denied that there is subsidy, but when he saw that there is subsidy, he could have just stopped it once. Just imagine he stopped in 2015. All this problem will not linger. And they are saying that they will not increase that the pump price. But Mr. Stanley, as I was reading the Punch yesterday, the end of the details of the point in the Punch newspaper yesterday, I saw where the writer said that the government allowed depot owners to increase the price to 200 and something. So I don't know, if you just go through it, you will see it. So if they have not allowed to pump the increase, so why are they increasing the price on for depot owners for them to sell to Nigerians? So this one, they are saying that it has not increased. They have not increased price. It does not hold water. If they want to remove the subsidy, they should remove it once and for all. Yes, it will be hard. Yes, it will be difficult, but it will be better. According to NMPC, that millions of liters are subsidized and some are diverted. And I wonder, why will I subsidize something and pay for subsidy and it will be diverted under my nose? I will not know. So NMPC must come out and purge themselves cleanly and tell us how those products are being diverted, who are buying them. So how would they say they don't know? They subsidize something and they don't know. And again, Mr. Stanley, I want to ask, what is the job of NMPC? Is NMPC just to pay for subsidy and control subsidy, or what? So that is another question. I know you are not an expert, but that was my question.
Are you traveling this December?
No, I'm not traveling.
Oh, you're not? I hope it's not because of the petrol situation.
Not because of the petrol situation. Maybe if there is need, I would travel. And finally, whoever it is that will come 2023 as the president of Nigeria, he should put it at the back of his heart that we need refinery. Yes, all of us we are shouting, Dangote refinery, turn around maintenance in our various refineries. We need brand new refineries. Let's say like three brand new refineries with optimal working capacity, so that this continual fuel scarcity and increase of fuel prices will just reduce. So that person that will be elected 2023 should put it at the back of his mind. In 2023, we don't want to have this kind of experience in 2022. So for once, in 2023, we should enjoy Christmas without an interference of fuel scarcity or any other situation caused by fuel. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that intervention. Yeah, well, Patrick says, here is the situation. Maybe just rip off the Band-Aid. Let us have this thing removed so that we have access. All right, let's listen to another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Stanley.
Great to hear from you. Could you tell us your name, where you're calling from? I think this is Stephen.
No, my name is Simon.
Oh, Simon, rather. Okay. Hi, Simon. Where are you calling from today?
Yes, I'm on the queue. This filling station, I think I don't know what we call it, close to this ASO radio television station, opposite it.
So what's going on there?
The queue here has not been funny, to be honest with you. I don't know that they stopped selling because we've not been moving for a while now. Now, coming to your question, Charlie, I'm telling you the truth. You and I know too well. The federal government has just paid lip service, you know. Removing subsidy will really add suffering to the common man in this country. We have all what it takes to make this country work. We have all it takes to have brand new refineries, to have those outdated ones working. But for some reason, best known to NMPC and federal government, they decide to leave it as it is. However, removing subsidy, on the other hand, yes, it's good. But I will show you, if they remove this subsidy, the hardship that Nigerians are passing through is going to double, or if not triple. And we will not even have sufficient fuel. Mark my words today.
Even if the subsidy is removed?
Yes, even the subsidy, if they remove the subsidy today, believe me honestly, give this country 2-3 months, we'll still go back to square one. And people start buying fuel, maybe 800 or 900 naira per liter. And still don't have sufficient commodities around. So what do? Let's go back to the square root. What is the actual problem? What is the actual issue that we are having before now? The refineries are not working. What does it take? What does it take to make the refineries work? And that's why I said at the beginning, federal government has just paid lip service. I pray God will help us in this country.
And how long have you been in the queue today?
I've been here since 5:55.
Wow, since 5:55, and you still haven't gotten petrol. It's almost 8:30 now.
Yes, and I'm very far from the station. I've not even get close to the pump. I'm not close to the pump. I'm very far.
Yeah. It is really. But thank you very much for your intervention.
Thank you, Stanley. You're doing a wonderful job. Keep the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, and here's what it means. I keep hearing about panic buying, and I was trying to understand the concept, because for now, I will tell you the truth. I told you earlier that I try to keep my tank at quarter tank. It is below quarter tank, and it has been throughout this week. So if I'm trying to do that, and I hear this, I try to understand what the panic buying meant, and somebody explained to me panic buying means instead of you just buying enough of what you need, and I will tell you how much I usually buy whenever I drive into the station. Station is free. I usually buy around maybe 5,000 to 6,000 or 7,000. That's usually enough for me for the entire week. But if I have to spend 4 hours at a petrol station, I would have to make my time count. So I will have to fill up my tank. Otherwise, it doesn't justify the amount of time. So I wonder if it's panic buying. We have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Stanley.
Yeah, great to hear from you. Could you tell us your name, where you're calling from?
My name is Philemon Ajekuko.
Oh, Phil. Good morning. Great to hear from you. All right, please go ahead.
I want to give you two words, two phrases from one from behavioral economics. That's actually a word. It's called nudging, right? Then there's another one from public relations called manufactured consent. Whether you're talking about nudging or manufactured consent, you're saying the same thing, and that is coercing somebody to accept your wishes and making the person believe that he is actually pursuing his own wishes. So now we have been pushed to the point of believing that when the subsidies are removed, these products will be available. But you will recall that only a few days ago, you mentioned so many reasons why we are not having the fuel, according to them, right? So the question is, if you remove the subsidies, will that remove the multiple excuses they have given for the reason for this?
Will that mean that the transport, the buses or the trucks will be able to move from Kogi to Abuja without flooding? Does that eliminate the flooding problem? Does that eliminate the importation of bad petrol and every other excuse that has been given as to why the product is not available?
You get the point, and I wish to draw the curtain on that one. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you very much, Philemon. So we were talking about, I was talking about panic buying and what panic buying means. And we just heard earlier about, one of the members of our Citizen FM communities who's been in the queue since 5 a.m. this morning. Now, if I have been in the queue and I say my time is very expensive, I don't even have a lot of it to give to being in the queue. But if I'm going to be in the queue for about 4 or 5 hours, then of course, when I get there, I want to make sure that I fill up my tank. Now, is this panic buying? So are all of these people who are spending these hours in the queue actually panic buying, or are they just responding to the necessity and trying their best to make all of the time that they invest in sitting idle in that queue? Are they just trying to make this worthwhile? They have to make it worth their while. And, I've also mentioned another situation where whenever we have these carsties, there are two things that always happen. Number one, we find these young men all of a sudden, and young women these days, all of a sudden they're outside the station. They never lack petrol. You always see them in and around the vicinity of a petrol station. How do they get it? We don't know. How come they always have it? We don't know. What time do they go and actually buy it? We did ask. We took our microphones out there to ask. They say, oh, no, they buy it. So how and when do they buy it? When a lot of petrol stations say that they don't sell by the gallon, how do they? I don't know. It's probably the biggest mystery on the face of the planet. Another thing is, you have petrol station that has 10, 12, 15 pumps and only 1 or 2 pumps are working. I don't pretend to know how these networks work, but maybe if there are people who understand why is it that when you have a station that has 6, 7, 8 pumps, when we have these queues, we're only dispensing from less than half of that. Is that the most efficient way to do this? So I would like to hear your experience. I'd still like to hear. Lines are still open. You could call me on 0903 22 29 797 or 0818 22 22 205 or 0808 22 22 037. It is Christmas time, and it's the season, so it's a big frustration how we're going to actually get through this. And I can understand the skepticism, that maybe if we are to concede. Phil calls it manufactured consent. Others would call it duress. Are we being squeezed to the point where we say, okay, just put it at any price? And what is the end game? Because when you put it at any price, there is also that worry with the Naira in free fall if we continue importation. Because some people say the question about subsidy is, let us have the ability to manufacture in the country. When we have the ability, because what that does is it insulates us from this dollar cost. Because now one of the reasons why we are struggling with the price of petrol is because once upon a time, the naira was exchanging for 500 naira. Right now, I think it's about 700 naira, 710, 720. But it went as high as 800 plus. So we're vulnerable. The Nigerian buying public is vulnerable to all of that. Every time there is this change as a result of the fluctuation of the naira, even if the product does not change price in the international market, it means that right here at home we will have to pay more. So if we have refineries and our refineries are working right here at home, automatically it means that we won't have to pay for any drop in the value or in the quality of the naira, because the petrol would be refined in naira value, and so we will be able to get it at a reasonably stable cost. So as long as we are importing petrol, then subsidy is going to, federal government is going to say it's going to keep on getting more and more expensive. Some people even talk about our consumption. Do we consume as much petrol? Or is there something else going on? And now we have a new factor. The tank farm owners, which are private individuals, private businesses that have set up reservoirs, so that when petrol comes into the country and NNPC does not have sufficient facilities to store these things, they say, hey, NNPC, look, I have a reservoir. You can keep your product with me for some time before the independent marketers, the retailers, actually pick it up. And so use my tank farm. But there is a cost. And these costs are ultimately passed on to you and to me. So there is a middleman that is snuck himself into the system and made things even more difficult for all Nigerians. Okay, well, even as we prepare for Christmas, I would like to say that we basically wish all of Nigeria and Nigerians well. It's going to be a tough one, but I believe that we should be focused on the positives, focused on the good things that we can achieve in the course of this Christmas, and do not let the petrol situation get you down. We are Nigerians, and according to our jingle, we are a resilient people who somehow manage to pull ourselves back from the brink every single time. So let's do that again once and for all, and let's also make sure that we keep the conversation open, that we continue to let the governments know what we desire and what we hope, what we feel should be done, what policies should be implemented to make our lives just that much easier, and make sure that we can pass on to future generations of Nigerians a better life. So it is Friday. Let's look forward to the weekend. I would like to thank everyone who participated in this program. Thank you to every single person who called in to share their views. Thanks to my producer, Destiny, for keeping me organized. Thanks to our engineers, to Joseph Michelia and his assistant. Thank you also to everyone who took the time to listen to this program. Thanks to Lawrence Umoite, and thanks to each and every one of you. Have a lovely weekend, Abuja.